Hi, everybody. Welcome to Story Hour. I'm your host, Daniel Marcus. My wonderful co-host is Laura Blackwell. And it is Wednesday evening in California. And we're back again bringing you great spoken word speculative fiction. Um, we feature work from across the entire range of speculative fiction today, which is a gigantic tent: horror, fantasy, hard SF, soft SF, whatever that is, space opera, your favorite species of punk, slipstream, weird, dark weird, and on and on and on. We love new writers for whom the ink is just barely dry on their first contracts, and we love seasoned pros who have won multiple awards, and we love everybody in between. So welcome back. Uh, I started Story Hour 6 years ago, roughly, almost 6 years ago, in the early days of the pandemic, and things were very strange out there, not at all like now. And I wanted to just create a space where my friends and I could get together and share our work and enjoy a little bit of community, kind of a shelter-in-place deal against what seemed to be the um, soft apocalypse that we'd all been reading about and writing about for years. Uh, so very shortly after I kicked it off, I asked my friend and colleague Laura Blackwell to join me in co-hosting, and we have been at it ever since. So 6 years later, things are still pretty weird out there and trending weirder, but Story Hour is still here, and we're not going anywhere. I really believe that we need stories more than ever. We need community more than ever. We need each other more than ever. Um, so we rely on a very old tradition, maybe one of the oldest traditions for humankind, which is folks sitting around a big fire telling lies to each other. So this is what we do every week. We have two writers, about 30 minutes each, narrating their own work. Before we proceed, I want to thank the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America for their very generous Givers Grant, which helps us keep the lights on and keep these virtual rooms open. So thank you, SIFWA. And with that, I'm really excited to have these two authors here this evening, Meg Elison and Kemi Ashing-Giwa. And we're going to start the program off tonight with Meg. Meg Elison is an author and essayist. She writes science fiction and horror, as well as feminist essays and cultural criticism. She's been published in McSweeney's, Slate, Fangoria, Fantasy and Science Fiction, Clark's World, and many other places. Her debut novel, The Book of the Unnamed Midwife, won the 2014 Philip K. Dick Award. Her novelette, The Pill, won the 2021 Locus Award. She's a Hugo, Nebula, and Sturgeon Awards finalist. She has been an Otherwise Award honoree twice. Her YA debut, Find Layla, was published in fall 2020 by Skyscape, and was named one of Vanity Fair's best 15 books of 2020. Her parasocial thriller, Number One Fan, was published in August 2022 by Mirror Books, and she's got a new book coming out later this year, Founding Fathers. This will be published by Tachyon in 2026. We love Tachyon, by the way. Meg is a high school dropout and a graduate of UC Berkeley, and she lives in the Berkshires. Meg, welcome back. It's great to see you. The floor is yours.
Great to be back. Thank you so much for having me. And tonight's story is called Small Wonder. So let's get started. What was that show? The one with the alien? Kathy was on her way to being buzzed and made a silent vow to slow down her drinking. That's Alf, Jesse answered immediately. He was only drinking Coke. The one who ate cats. No, not that one, Kathy said. The alien dad, the girl who talked through a crystal to her dad, she had powers. Would you like to swing on a star? Jessie said. Her powers were some world-ending shit. She could stop time. She could have ended up at Charles Xavier's School for Exceptional Gay Criminals. Yeah, Kathy said. That was it. And she could like grow her neck super long and lift cars and whatnot. Jessie set his coke down. The bar was noisy, but they had their heads together over the table. I don't remember her doing that, he said doubtfully. Do you want mozzarella sticks? Kathy gulped the rest of her Manhattan. Yes, I do. No, you know, she wore that weird pinafore dress that was super old-fashioned even for the 80s, and then her dad got mad at her for growing up because she wasn't supposed to. Kathy had the sensation of losing touch with the memory rather than it getting stronger with each detail. She waited for his face to open up with recognition, for his memory to pull her back in with its tether. He was shaking his head, no tether at all. She floated further away. You're crossing wires with something else. How could her dad get mad? He lived in outer space. Rich, not Marinara, right? Right, she said to her ice cubes. Get two so we can both be gross about it. Jesse went to the counter, their favorite dive bar, and put in the order. Hinterlands was gently nerd themed with fantasy and RPG details in the decor and a space for group gaming in the back. But non-nerds could comfortably drink and get their tater tots without noticing, and Kathy likes a chill vibe. Plus, she could walk home. As soon as Jesse's back was turned, she started Googling, trying to find the show she was remembering. Jesse was right that the show about the half alien girl, except that he got the title wrong. He'd been quoting from the show's theme song. The correct title was Out of This World, but the rest of the details were right. He was coming back when she was still trying to find the girl in the pinafore. Had she been an alien or a robot? They're getting fancy around here, he says. No ranch, but a garlic and herb aioli. I'm an American and I will not stand for this Hidden Valley erasure. Jesse had bought them both drinks as well and handed her a Diet Coke with a wedge of lime in it. You ever half remember a public access kids show that never made it to DVD and feel crazy because the internet won't tell you what it was? Sure, Jesse said, stifling a burp and settling into his chair sideways so that his back was against the wall. There's a whole band of that stuff that's not a precious classic, but also came out too early to have made it digital. A lacuna for mediocre art. He shrugged out of his leather jacket and hung it over his chair. Automatically, Kathy took hers off, too. She didn't think of whether it was cold inside or if she was uncomfortable. If someone had asked her why she had done it, she wouldn't know the answer. She squeezed her lime and sipped her Coke. For every weird piece of forgotten media, there is a subreddit or a YouTube obsessionist or a forum somewhere, Jesse said. It can't just be you. You'll find it. After mozzarella sticks, they were both too full of cheese to do anything but amuse themselves. Jesse hugged her, and they walked their separate ways home through Brooklyn. Kathy fell asleep without plugging in her phone. In the morning, she set it on the induction charger and pulled up her laptop. She tried everything she could remember about the show, the little girl's monotonous diction, the quirky, nosy, zany, adorable red-headed neighbor. The father was a roboticist, right? Hadn't the mother had an embarrassing cringe of a catchphrase? 15 pages deep in the Google results, and all the ads and auto-generated garbage had gone back out with the tide. She found one mention on a defunct forum. Does anybody remember a show where the family had a robot daughter, but they pretended she was real? I think she slept in a closet. Yes, I've been trying to track this down for a decade, and I swear I didn't make it up. Nothing past those words. I'm not your average idiot, Kathy muttered, pulling her contacts on her computer. She started up a FaceTime and saw her own visage. She was made up and ready for the day. She always got ready to be seen, whether she was leaving the house or not. It was just her habit. She typed in Kragen and found the number for her professor she hadn't spoken to since she was an undergrad, but she knew Kragen was still teaching television as a text in Bowling Green. She knew he was a confirmed bachelor living alone till the day he died, and she knew he'd be up in the morning working on one of his books, ready to be delighted by a phone call. Catherine Benson, as I live and breathe, it's really you. How have you been? Kragen sounded like Truman Capote had never smoked a cigarette. Oh, it's been a weird 20 years, she said, a little laugh in her voice. I live in New York now. I work in publishing. Living the dream. Kathy, who could see both her stove and her toilet from where she sat, said, haha, exactly. Hey, I wanted to ask you about kind of a lost TV show, if you don't mind. Oh, I love those, Professor Kragen said with a gush of emotion. Fire away. Okay, 1980s, daytime, science fiction, but for kids. A guy builds a robot daughter. She's super strong, but then he gets mad when she grows up. The robot grows? Kathy could hear the furrowing of his eyebrows. No, she said, exasperated. The actress, the child playing her. She must have started to look older or something, so they wrote it into the show. Bizarre, the professor said. It doesn't ring any bells, but let me check the index. Was it a national show? I think so, Kathy said. I don't know. We didn't move around or anything, so it was on in our market. Mm-hmm, Kragen said, tapping away, distracted. Plenty of shows with an outsider in the house, Harry and the Hendersons, that sort of thing. No robot little girl, though. Do you remember the theme song? That often helps to locate something. She shook her head. It was schmaltzy. It was written for the show, like it described the girl, how pretty and soft she was. Kragen was silent for a second. Catherine, is it possible this is something you dreamt? I don't think so, she said, though she knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was a memory and not a dream. I remember coming on after Mr. Belvedere. Another alien in the home. He was cheerful, but he had nothing to offer her. Thank you, Professor. Of course, Catherine. So good to hear from you. Kathy went back to the internet. She dug. The dad worked for some place with a stupid name, like Robotronics Inc. or something. She ate food, even though she was a robot. She cried real tears, like one of those baby dolls. Baby alive. This is driving me bug shit. I know I saw it before I got diagnosed. And I knew the robot alien characters I saw myself in all had ASD. I know she was on the list. Her name started with a V. This form wasn't as old as the others, and the last response was only 2 years ago. Kathy decided to try it. Hey, has anybody found this series? I can't stop thinking about it. Remember when the child actor hit puberty or whatever and the dad wasn't interested in the robot anymore and she got to wear real clothes and go to school? What was that? She tried to put it out of her mind. She went to work, she went to hinterlands. She saw friends for lunch and went to the movies. Every day she checked the forum. There was no response. She scoured the personal industrial complex on the internet, hoping that some feminist writer had taken it on as her personal crusade. Somehow that had never happened, or it had gone down with some media ship that had sunk in the last few brutal years. One night, on the edge of sleep, her mind coughed up a possibility, possibly just to get some relief. The headboard banged against the wall as she shot up in bed. I wrote about it in my journals. I know I did. I remember drawing her with her neck stretched out like Inspector Gadget. Shit, I'll write the feminist essay myself, a book of essays. Too excited to sleep, she tried to imagine the fresh specificity of her diary entries. They would have been jotted down in the evening, her memories of each day and what stories had most engaged her. She wrote her first book reports there. She knew she'd find the robot girl in between the Fear Street saga and Wuthering Heights. If anyone had asked her why she stopped keeping a journal, she would know the answer. Kathy called her mom as soon as she had a train ticket. I'll be in super late tomorrow, like after midnight. Do you think you can pick me up? Of course, honey. It'll be so nice to see you. Her mom's voice was like the mom on the show. She was sure of it. Listening now, she could almost see the actress's face, her dubious head shake whenever her husband spoke too deeply of science. What had that catchphrase been? In English, please, or if you say so, dear. Something toothless and boneless, something like she was patronizing herself to take one more task off her husband's plate. Thanks, Mom. See you soon. Kathy packed a bag. She took the subway to Penn Station and watched the sunrise as the train barreled west. Her mom met her at the station in Toledo, and Kathy threw her big bag in the hatchback before a hug. So what's the sudden desire to come home? It's been a while. I know, Kathy said. I'm sorry. Work has been crazy. And then I broke my ankle, and you know how that goes. So busy. Kathy's mom took the freeway on ramp. Well, whatever the reason, I'm glad you're back now. Hopefully this means we'll see you for Christmas this year. Of course, Kathy said automatically. If someone had asked her why she hadn't been home in years, the excuses would have sounded thin. I need to get something out of the basement, she told her mother as soon as they reached the bedroom that had once been hers, but had since become a guest room. The coat of paint and the change of decor didn't matter. She still hated being in that room. The basement was her goal, and the excitement of it was starting to wane. In her belly, there was a dread that she couldn't explain. Your father's down there in his workshop. You can go say hi. Down the newly rebuilt wooden stairs and straight to the boxes of her things that her mother still kept for her. Only four of them, and the diaries were easy to find. They were pink and purple, with little tin locks and glitter on their spine. She went to snap the first lock and found that it was already sprung, sometime in the cold and the heat, the swelling and contracting that happens over the years. So bored today. Nothing good until Friday. Can't wait to see Trudy. Kathy paged and paged, too focused to hear her dad coming. Those are incredibly useful, you know. Turning as she jumped, Kathy made no sound in her shock. Dad, you snuck up on me. He gestured to the book in her hand. It's hard work, feeding handwritten text to a program that can transcribe it and then encode it through the AI. There are always errors, but it was so worth it. Kathy didn't move. What? He turned and left her in the alcove. After a minute, she followed. What are you talking about? The diaries, he said. His voice came from the other side of the wall. She didn't remember the basement being finished in multiple rooms, but a lot had changed since he'd left home. I fed the diaries into the language learning machine to teach it to speak. Teach what? She pushed through the door only to find heavy plastic curtains hanging from the ceiling. What is all this? Dust is my enemy, her father said from beyond the curtains. Have to keep this area as clean as possible. You read my diaries? Pushing through the curtains should have been easy. Kathy was so small. Small enough to hardly disturb them as she moved, sliding between them. She wasn't even there. Her body wasn't even real. Oh, don't fret. There's nothing in them I didn't already know. The important thing is getting the sound right, authentic. None of these online scripts came close. Scripts? But there it was, in the pinafore dress, lovely and bright with soft curls. Kathy's 7-year-old face smiling up and out of the cabinet where she stood, just over 4 feet tall. You were mad at her for getting older, Kathy whispered. The actress who played the robot. The robot doll blinked. It smiled. I missed you so much, Kathy's father said, from somewhere his face couldn't be seen. She couldn't see. She wasn't hearing. She wasn't here. But now I have what I need, what I lost, and nobody gets hurt. Diary back in the box back in the alcove, body back upstairs where everything is normal. Dinner is normal, conversations to be had. Don't look. Guest room all done up in sunshine yellow. Don't sleep. Train ride back to the city. Don't remember going home. When Jessie asked her how long it had been since she had visited, she couldn't honestly remember. Who wants to go to Ohio? Kathy said to Jessie, back between the ice cubes and the hinterlands. Nobody I know, Jessie said, grinning at her. Small wonder that someone like you came from that. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. That was lovely. Um, it's
I
our
thought it
custom.
was
Oh, go ahead.
also creepy and sad,
Well,
Daniel.
yes, yes, all of those things. Yeah, absolutely. It's our custom
But
to just take a beat between authors to let the previous work resonate. I think we need it just right now, actually. Let's just take a breath. So,
It's a creepy story. It's out on sub right now, but I think it's going to have a hard time finding a home. So it is.
thanks for sharing it. All right, here we go. Meg Elison, folks. Thanks, Meg. Our next author, Kemi Ashing-Giwa, is the USA Today best-selling Compton Crook Award-winning author of The Splinter in the Sky, This World Is Not Yours, and the forthcoming novel, The King Must Die. Her short fiction, which has been nominated for an Ignite Award and featured on the Locus recommended reading list, has been reprinted in the year's best African speculative fiction, Volume 3, some of the best from Tor.com 15th anniversary edition, and the year's top tales of space and time 3. Kemi studied organismic and evolutionary biology and astrophysics at Harvard and is now pursuing a PhD in the Earth and Planetary Sciences Department at Stanford. Kemi, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much for having me again. And I absolutely loved listening to your story, Meg. So that's a really tough one to follow up, but I will just start reading. Okay, this is The Fire Burns Anyway. Okay. You're peeling ginger in the communal kitchen beneath your rental unit when you decide to quit. The job is killing you, surely and not so slowly. Used to love weaving dreams for your friends and family. When you were a kid, you'd run to the neural scanner in your mom's office as soon as you got back from school. You'd hop onto the stool in that small, blindingly white cubicle, tug down the helmet from where it dangled above your head, and squeeze your eyes shut. You'd sit there for hours and hours, growing planets and rearranging constellations until your big brother started banging on the cubicle, telling you he was going to eat your dinner if you didn't come out in 10, 9, 8. You'd run out, yelling whichever new cuss word you'd learned during recess at him, a shiny new bioplastic card clutched in your small hand, a new world, fresh and ready to be uploaded to anyone's implant with just a tap to the temple. It wasn't until college that you discovered people could get paid for spinning up imaginary settings. But of course, there was a job for it. The current dictator of your country imprisons the poets and painters who dare defy him. But he'll happily pay for the realistic worlds he enters just before falling asleep. You guess he's testing out his plans for global domination as he slumbers, but honestly, you have no idea what goes through despots' heads. Still, besides the occasional tyrant, dream weaving hasn't been a well-paying profession for the last 50 years. Nevertheless, you have a talent for it. Or rather, you hadn't known how ridiculous it was to apply for a professional license when you had no formal training at all. Not until you'd been approved and hired by the seventh biggest dream synthesizing corporation on the planet. You'd been so proud of yourself then. Your career started off with a modest bang, and even to this day, you look a lot more successful than you really are. Now, though, whenever you think of dream weaving, you taste stomach acid, your heart thrashes against the bars of your rib cage, your vision blurs at the edges. Now, you're pretty sure the next dream is going to be the end of you. For what? Not money, not fame. You've spent the last 10 years forcing yourself not to care, and you are mostly successful. All you want now is stability. But they say only 10% of artificial dream worlds actually turn a profit. They're right. And you're 90% sure you're never going to weave a moneymaker, which means you are never going to have job security. You will spend the rest of your life living from paycheck to paycheck. Everyone lives like that, of course. The problem is that dream weaving was your only hobby, and then you had to go and turn it into work. So you have work and more work. The moment you do something you love for money is the moment you love that thing a little less. And yet, your older brother believes in you. He is certain that all your hard work will pay off any day now. The same goes for the talent scout who hired you. And for some reason, your niece, who's spending the summer with you, uncool, and your partner, somewhat cooler, instead of her hip friends across the city. But you can't wait for good fortune to come knock on the thin door that separates you from the other 50 desperate people in the building. Not anymore, because that's what it comes down to in the end, luck. Oh, skill plays a role, so does hard work. But at the end of the day, you've got to get lucky if you want to survive in your industry. Lucky enough for a scout to hire you, lucky enough for the company to approve you building your own new concept instead of just plugging it into one of their AIs. Lucky enough to get a couple implant ads promoting your product, which hopefully convince enough people to buy your dream, such that word of mouth can take over from the marketing department. Everyone at the corporation is overworked. Everyone is expected to juggle 4 or 5 different jobs. There's not enough time and not enough money to ensure that every dream world is a success. The people who own the synthesizers are aspiring trillionaires, so, the budgets are tight. You focus on the good things, and there are indeed many of them, befriending other dream weavers, exploring the beautiful and dangerous realms they build, long chats with memory librarians, kind enough to archive copies of your work for their cities, the occasional patron who messages you over the feed to tell you how much they liked the rainforest in your latest world. One person tells you the endless miles of dense greenery reminded them of their home a decade ago, before the trees got cut down to make way for farmland. When you were just starting out, you were bitter and jealous of everyone and everything. These days, you're just tired. Dreamweaving professionally made you a measurably worse person, and it took so long to undo the damage. You got whiny and hubristic, and now you have frequent panic attacks. It used to be hard to root for anyone, yourself included, especially when you were doom scrolling on the feed, and all you saw were posts about major world-building deals nestled between reports about human rights violations the next city over. When you finally blinked away the implant screens, you'd be certain there wasn't a point to dream weaving at all. But in your heart of hearts, you do actually believe that art has the power to change the world. At least, art has changed your life. You know with aching certainty that you would not still be alive without the dream world that gave your mind a place to run to when things got bad. You have no idea just how difficult things could be for the creators behind some of your favorite escapes. A blessing is a curse from a certain point of view. The reverse is also true, especially if you chose your fate, if you fought tooth and nail for it every step of the way. You just want to be able to retire one day. You should have gotten that econ degree like your father told you to, or gone into tech. Your engineer and programmer friends are no less miserable than you, but at least they make a lot more. By now, when aspiring dream weavers tell you they're working on their license applications, all you can do is wish them luck and hope they'll be more successful than you are, that the industry won't break them over its steel-capped knee. Some of them do quite well. Some of them end up like you, with thousands of credits of college debt and unpaid medical bills, and a cramped housing unit they can barely afford. And yet, the knife slips. Its smooth steel edge nearly bites into your thumb, but you manage to twist your wrist at the last second, and you finish peeling the ginger unscathed. Your niece has a bad cold, one of those old bugs they stopped making vaccines for. So you're making the honey ginger lemon tea your mother made you when you were small. You drop chunks of bright yellow root one by one into the bubbling pot on the stove. You're not going to quit. Be honest with yourself. What else are you going to do with your one precious life but this? You are a coward, but you are also brave. So are all of your Dreamweaver friends, who are easily half the reason you're able to keep afloat for this long at all. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, you have a meeting with a creative director, your handler, to discuss next steps. This is a nice way of saying that either you'll contractually agree to build worlds based on prompts the company knows it can market well, or you'll hand over your ideas to an AI to generate. This job will actually kill you. You know that. You've got stomach ulcers, and your pulse screams in your ears. And yet the fire inside burns anyway. The end.
That
Thank you.
was so extremely real.
Yes, it really,
Thanks.
it's pretty close to home, I must say. Wow. Kemi Ashing-Giwa, thanks so much. Um,
Thank you.
so, Laura, we are lucky people. Oh, man. Oh,
Among the luckiest, for
among the
sure.
luckiest, seriously. Uh, so I want to thank our authors tonight, Meg Elison, Kemi Ashing-Giwa. Thanks for joining us again. You're both Story Hour veterans. Please come on back anytime you like. And I want to thank my amazing co-host, Laura Blackwell, with whom without whom this really wouldn't be possible. Uh, so thank you, Laura. And thank you all for coming back every week and being here with us to share this amazing work. And please come back next week because we're going to have Ai Jiang and Cynthia Gomez. It's going to be a great program. They're kind of all great, actually. Um, so with that, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.